Row double six or double three. Let's learn about your history. Hi, I'm Nadine Cowan, author and illustrator of the Tudor Trumpeter, part of my new series of Black historical fiction books with Colin's Big Cat. Today, I'm going to read through the book with you so we can go on the adventure together.
Chapter 1. Anaya savoured the taste of the fried sweet dough she was sharing with her cousin EJ and their friend Olivia. It was called a festival, one of her favourite snacks from Jamaica. The lunchtime rush at Blue Maho's, Anaya and EJ's family restaurant, was over, and now they wanted to play their favourite board game. The Ludi board had brightly coloured squares and painted African masks in the centre. There was an engraving which read, "Row double six or double three. Let's learn about your history." This wasn't just any game. Whenever they played, something amazing happened. Olivia shook the dice and moved her counter. "I went on a boat tour on the Thames and visited the London Eye yesterday," Olivia said. "I saw the restaurant from up there, so I waved to you both." Before she could say any more, EJ rolled double three. Suddenly, the board illuminated like a fluorescent bulb. The table shook, and a tornado that formed a wormhole pulled the children in. Anaya and Olivia found themselves in a courtyard. Anaya felt as though a snake had wrapped itself tightly around her waist. She looked down and saw that she was wearing a tight bodice over a gown and a linen smock. A small drawstring bag hung from her belt. "We look like princesses," Olivia said. "I wonder where we are." They could hear music and cheering in the distance. Anaya wrinkled her nose. "Wherever we are, it stinks. Where's EJ?" "He can't be that far," Olivia began, when someone barged into her. Paper with drawings on fluttered around them, and coloured chalks and black ink spilled to the ground. "I beg your pardon," a man exclaimed as the girls helped him pick up his things. "Are you a painter?" Olivia asked, handing him some paper. "Thank you. Yes, I was gathering inspiration for the tournament row and wasn't looking where I was going." "Tournament row?" asked Olivia. "There's to be a joust in London in honour of the birth of King Henry VIII's son, and I've been commissioned to paint the tournament. 1511 will go down in history," replied the painter before rushing off. 1511? gasped Anaya. "Henry VIII, Olivia said at the same time. "No way." "What's a joust?" Anaya said. "No idea," Olivia replied. "Maybe it's something to do with the decorations?" The girls looked down at the ground. The black ink the artist had dropped had formed a big, gooey puddle. "What a mess," said Olivia. Just then, a dark shadow loomed over them. When they turned around, they saw a figure in full armour. The girls gulped. Chapter 2. Laughter erupted from the helmet. As the visor was lifted, it was EJ. "You should have seen your faces. This is way cooler than what I arrived in." "I found it in that palace over there," EJ pointed. Suddenly, a man holding something wrapped in cloth shoved past them. "That's the second person," Anaya grumbled. A voice cried out, "Thief! Stop him!" And a man wearing an ornate turban stopped to catch his breath beside them. "What did he take?" asked EJ. "My trumpet," the man gasped. "I only rested it for a moment. I'm John. I'm a musician of the court, and I need that trumpet for today's festivities." "Look!" Olivia pointed to the black ink on the ground. "It's the thief's footprints." Anaya's face lit up. "We can follow them and help you get your trumpet back." "Thank you. We've got to be quick," said John. "I can't be late." They all looked at EJ in his heavy armour. EJ sighed. "I'll go and change." They left the armour behind some crates and followed the inky footprints, dodging through the crowds. "These footprints should lead us straight to the..." EJ's jaw dropped, and the girls could see why. There was a huge celebration ahead, and the footprints faded into the crowd. "We'll never find him here," said Anaya. "There's another way out of Westminster. The thief may be heading for the wharf," John replied. "Westminster? It looks so different. I rode the number 38 bus here yesterday, said Olivia. I wish we could jump on the 38 right now, huffed Anaya. The stench grew stronger as they clambered down some steps to a river. This must be the Thames, said Olivia. Look, said EJ. It's another footprint. There was a boat heading towards a bridge. Olivia squinted. That's the man who ran past us. The riverbank was lined with watermen waiting to ferry people across the river. Where's that boat heading? John asked them. The man asked to go to Venice Wharf, came the reply. Can you take us there? Asked John. The watermen looked at John's luxurious clothing. Twopence each. Each, John cried. Take it or leave it, the waterman replied. John peered inside his little black purse and emptied the contents. Welcome aboard, sang the waterman. The small boat pulled away from the wharf as the waterman rowed against the tide. He navigated past the other boats, sailing towards Westminster from Suffolk. Suddenly, a ferocious wave came crashing against the boat. Everyone gripped the sides tightly. The boat began to tip sideways, and the water crept inside. Chapter 3. The waterman heaved the oars with all his might, then let out a raspy laugh. The Thames won't bite. It's just saying hello. Olivia, Anaya and EJ couldn't believe how different London looked from the river. There was no London Eye, no Big Ben, and only one bridge. Is it far? EJ asked John. No, but it's quicker to travel by boat, John explained. I've not seen you at the palace before. London can be a dangerous place. There are lots of pickpockets. The poor have little money and can't afford to clothe or feed themselves. I'm fortunate enough to have a highly respected job that pays well. What's it like being a court musician? Olivia asked John. No 2 days are the same. I get to travel and attend grand banquets. I also get to stay in places most could only dream of. But the hours are long. I played the trumpet in yesterday's procession to Westminster while on horseback. If I don't get my trumpet back, I'll lose my job. When the watermen pulled up beside Venice Wharf, everyone clambered out, thankful that they hadn't been gobbled up by the river. Anaya pointed to a wet, murky footprint. The thief must have washed the ink off in the river. They followed the wet footprints, but they soon disappeared. This road leads to Cheapside, and that's where I think a thief would go to sell my trumpet, John said. Cheapside was lined with shops, stalls and taverns. EJ looked around. It's not as fancy as Westminster. As they drew near, they heard cheering and laughing. People were dancing to the notes of a pipe mingled in with the sound of sellers bartering goods. I fear the thief will be long gone, but we may find my trumpet, said John. Chapter 4. Is that it? Olivia beckoned them over to a shop display where there was a gleaming trumpet, its painted silk banner draped down below. Yes, cried John. He grabbed it. I paid a heavy price for that, the shopkeeper said. I'll accept nothing less than 35 shillings. I spent all the money I had with me on the boat ride, cried John. Anaya remembered her leather purse. When she opened it, she found some shiny jewellery and coins. She pulled the jewellery out and held it in the palm of her hand. That jewellery is worth a pretty penny, said the shopkeeper. You can have it in exchange for the trumpet, Anaya said excitedly. I have enough coins for a boat ride back too. After another choppy boat ride, the children walked to Westminster Palace with John. I am most grateful for your assistance, John said, as he mounted his horse. I must go now, but do stay for the joust. Olivia and Anaya stroked the horse's shiny mane before John rode away. The children found a space at the front in the tilt yard and were mesmerised by John's trumpet solo. When John had finished, he waved to the children before continuing with the other trumpeters. The trumpet sounded once more as knights on horseback came galloping out into the yard. This must be what a joust is, said Anaya. The crowd erupted into a cheer when Henry VIII appeared. He made a grand gesture to the Queen before he rode over to face his opponent. The jousters lowered their visors and began to charge. But just as the King raised his lance, a cloud of smoke appeared and a tornado that formed a wormhole pulled the children in. They were back in the restaurant. it was getting good, said EJ. I'm glad to get away from that awful smell, Anaya said, taking a deep breath. Whose turn is it to roll the dice? Asked Olivia as they gathered around the board once more. Thank you. If you enjoyed that story, be sure to check out some of our other titles in the series, including The Storm and the Samurai, Claudia's Carnival, and Atlantic Adventure. Until next time, keep reading, and bye!